Evan finally talked to Hank about you never really took me seriously in all this time, all the jobs that I did, and that was just, I think, on last week's episode. Talk about how the relationship grew over the seasons and what that has meant to you two as actors and how it felt playing that out.
Well, if you don't mind, going first, I have something that's just occurring to me is that the arc of our relationship on the show, on some level, I mean, not to get too hokey about it, was sort of reflective of our dynamic and some of the growth that has happened for both of us as people over the course of the 7 years of making the show. And I remember just figuring out who each other was, season 1, and then having serious fights as characters. You know, we slammed the golf club into my windshield, end of season 1 or season 2? Season 2. And then this metamorphosis began in the character of Evan, where he, and I mean, Paulo has had his own growth in life, and we don't have to talk about Paulo, but like I've gotten to watch him grow into this mature, beautiful human being who's very giving and loving and great, and he was great before, but even better now. And it happened with Evan, where he stood up and became the man he was meant to be and started taking big responsibility for his personal life and his professional life. And so this season we're getting to watch the full bloom of that character, and I was just so moved watching him talking to Lena in the last episode that was on Wednesday night, both taking responsibility as an administrator for what he had to do with Child Protective Services, but also telling her, you know, I'm here for you and I'm not going to let you hang in the wind. And it's just very moving to watch, because I also love him, Paulo, as a brother and a friend, and it's just perfectly reflective of what got to happen on the arc of the show. And I have him now, you know, as my friend forever, so it's great. But it's also cool.
Never.
Definitely. For a while.
Couple weeks.
For the rest of the festival.
Till the end of the interview, at least, please.
That was very sweet. I really want to turn the focus, though, on myself now. I have always been a thoughtful man. I just remember the first episode Jace had us in a car. It was just, they put the camera on the hood of the car and he shot us, and it was like a 20-minute shot. He just kept rolling. He goes, improvise, guys, improvise.
And we were just driving?
We were just driving. It was like, there was maybe a little bit of a scene, but then he's like, drive, like, you're driving, like, Evan's trying to give you directions, you don't know where you're going.
Yeah,
I was like covering your
vaguely.
eyes and stuff.
Uh-huh.
I just always remember that because we didn't know each other at all. And it was like two actors kind of feeling each other out and, you know, playing, but it's a weird thing to walk into a room and just play a brother. Like, there's so much inherent familiarity that you have to pretend. But I remember, I don't know, anyway, I remember that. And then over the course of the first couple of seasons, I've matured a lot, I can say that, as a person since the beginning of the show. And as the character I was playing at the beginning was very much a superficial, womanizing, or so he thought, like this kind of like douche. A douche, the word is douche. He had some dimension, but not a lot. And I wouldn't say that I was totally parallel with that character, but I was like, I didn't have as many dimensions then. And so I feel like I didn't feel like we were working as much as a team that first season. I was like doing my own thing and you were doing your thing. But as it went on, the image that I got at the end of what you were saying was, who are those two American volleyball players? Beach volleyball? They keep winning the gold like every summer. The two women. There are two women volleyball players who keep winning the gold. Anyway, they've learned to like totally intuit each other's moves and like they back each other up and they don't even have to look at each other. It's all peripheral, and it really did. By the end of it, it totally felt like that. Like during my coverage, Mark would come up and say, "Hey, I had that one line. I think you're referring to something in this scene," and I was like, "Oh shit, you're absolutely right. I totally didn't even pick up on that." We would back each other up. So yeah.
And we were also just there for each other in all the daily rigmarole of shooting a TV show, whether it was bonding over how much better we were when we were off camera, or helping each other, you know, understand.
What did you say? The off-camera Olympics? Or did you say the off-camera Oscars? Who gets the Oscar for the best performance when the camera's not on you, it's on the other person?
Because, by the way, in our heads, we all give ourselves
Win.
the Oscars for when we were not on camera. But just all of that. There was as much life off camera as there was on, and yeah.
You're probably getting the idea that we could talk forever about it. And we
No,
will,
and you
unless
should.
stop us.
I wanted to remember, just when you reminded me with the volleyball thing, there was one line from the volleyball episode that I wanted to remember, which is when the character says she's freaking out, and I forgot how it's affecting her physically, that she's going to actually make it into the professional to the Olympic tryouts or something. And she says, I say to her something like, be careful what you wish for, because now you actually have to deliver. And it was, anyway, it's cool.